Hello everyone and welcome back to DSP versus the Internet episode 48 for January 21st, 2024. We are rolling into the second video now and we're continuing on with the Ultra Member submissions for the week. Let's see what else people have in store for us, shall we?
Who dares enter my domain? Prepare for the fight of your life. Hi, are you serious?
Hell yeah, I'm serious. Serious about circling around you and giving drive-bys spankings until you explode.
You're smaller than my left foot. You could hit me for 5,000 years and I'd never die.
You know how much it hurts when you stub your toe?
Yeah.
Did you see what he did? He didn't say die in the subtitle, he said unalive. Why did he do that? Did he do that because he was afraid if he uses the word die in a subtitle that it would demonetize his video? Or was that like AI generated as a glitch? I wonder, right? I really wonder what that was. That's really weird that it said unalive.
Your toes up. I don't have time for this.
The roll.
Let's see if you can dodge this. Ah, damn! It feels like if you did that 54 more times, I'd die for some reason.
Yeah, I'd unalive.
My cheeks feel like they're about to cave in. I guess since I'm halfway dead, I should actually start trying now. Ugh. If I can't hit you, then I'll have to strike the entire arena. What was that?
Iframes. For a single frame, I'm invincible, and I timed it perfectly with your attack.
That is the biggest load of horse manure I have ever heard.
He slaps his head.
I can't take anymore.
And then he praised the sun. That was pretty good. That was pretty good, but I will admit that a lot of those videos look almost exactly the same, like the whole use the green screen, play a character, parody a game. But that one was well done, and it was short. I liked it. Alright, cool. Lady Charisma says YouTube scans subtitles like it does with audio. Can I be honest with all of you? I almost never have demonetization of videos based on language. Almost never. There's been a couple times over the years, but for the most part, this never happens. It doesn't. Gore, yes. Like when I play Mortal Kombat or something, yes. But language? Almost never. To say unalive instead of die in a subtitle sounds really ridiculous to me. I don't think that would ever demonetize a video on YouTube. You know, that sounds really silly to me. But I don't know. Again, it doesn't seem to affect me. So if I'm a 15-year channel with 5 zillion trolls and it doesn't affect me, I don't know why would it affect that guy. But I don't know. Well, let's continue. Terms of service paranoia. Very much it could be terms of service paranoia, I think. I think people tend to over-exaggerate. Boundary Break GTA.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 78 of an ongoing series where we basically take the camera anywhere we want and we try to find secrets and new discoveries.
He's wearing a Boundary Break t-shirt in the game.
It's finally happened. I'm covering a Grand Theft Auto game, which I'm very happy to say was very fun to do.
Like 6 years ago.
So let's start debunking some stuff that's been spreading around online and also maybe teach you a thing or two. Here we go. Let's do this. So, a large portion of what you're going to be seeing in this episode is going to be from North Yankton, and the reason why you're going to be seeing a ton of North Yankton is because it's one of the very few areas of the game that is very linear and controlled, and when things are linear and controlled in any game, you'll oftentimes find some really funky stuff. So the first—
Right, because you can't ever actively go back there except for one other mission, right? It's not part of the open world of the game. Cool.
First thing I want to show you is this weird black box underneath the map. What is it doing here? Well, unfortunately, it has to be speculated as to what it does. A lot of times in video games, however, if there are black cubes or black geometry in any part of the game, it's usually used as a trigger or a spawn point. Having this place here can do various things like set up a scene or just simply place the character in the correct spot. Also, when we take the camera outside of the building and start exploring North
Whoa.
Yankton, you end up finding a couple of really funny things. If you were to go the opposite direction of where our protagonists start to drive down the road, you can see that the road on the opposite side actually has a static point where the environment has a lower level of detail that does not change depending on where your character is at the given time.
Look at that.
Which is actually pretty funny because you can see the exact moment in which you start from Yankton and go straight into Low Poly Town.
Look at that. Because you'll never see that. You'll only see it in the background, so you'll never notice that.
Also, the town of North Yankton is never meant to be seen by the player, so there's all sorts of low-quality geometry that the developers of Rockstar just put together really quick.
Yep.
Some of the most interesting things would be this texture that represents the very end of the town, which you can see is a very plain textured cutout, with backface culling no less.
That's interesting. Of course, there's nothing wrong with that at all.
And
You're
one of
never
these
going to see
buildings has
it.
an unused building texture used as the rooftop for another building, which I guess is one way of recycling resources.
That's cool. Even now, again, you have no way to even see that from the street.
Also, one of the houses that you're actually supposed to be able to reach has a Christmas tree inside the window. And if you take the camera inside the window, you can see that this Christmas tree is in a 3D plane, but it's not a fully 3D object. It's actually a mirrored 2D texture that is bent into crude geometry. It doesn't even connect to each other. But that would be good enough to convince the player that it's fully 3D.
It's pretty neat to see how they
And
do this
lastly,
stuff.
before we move on to Los Santos, I wanted to take a look at the alien at the start of the game underneath the bridge. See, I don't really think that this Easter egg is that big of a deal because the aliens are used a lot in Grand Theft Auto 5.
Oh my God, I didn't know
This
that.
character model up close doesn't really do anything for any of you, I'm sure of it. But just so you can have peace of mind, you can see that the character is fully modeled and that there isn't anything underneath him like a spaceship or anything like that.
So there was a real alien in GTA 5. I didn't even know that. That's neat.
Okay, we're finally in Los Santos. And something kind of odd that you don't see all over the place is here underneath this specific part of the highway, you can see some placeholder textures underneath. And this isn't even in-game underneath the highway. This is actually between the bottom of the highway and the top of it.
Oh, like a texture that shouldn't be there, that got crammed in. I see.
That's a 9mm semi-automatic pushed against your skull. Don't look around. Take me where you're going.
So somebody on Twitter asked if Michael is always in the back seat of the car in the mission where Franklin's trying to repossess it. And then immediately after that, someone replied on Twitter by saying, yes, he is. And no, buddy, you're totally wrong. I'm just kidding. Love you. But all right, what exactly is going on here? As you already saw, when we took the camera into the backseat of the car, Michael was not there. The blanket is only there to assure the player that he's supposed to be underneath it. But if we get to that point in the game where Michael starts to spring out of the back seat and point the gun at Franklin, you can see with your own eyes that Michael is called into the scene. In fact, if we slow it down, you can watch the exact frame in which he does pop into the back seat, rather than actually come from underneath the blanket at some point. Also, funny enough, if you don't trigger all those scenes with Michael's kids and his wife, that blanket that you're supposed to see never shows up in the back seat.
Yeah, you guys will remember this part. It was a YouTube short when I played GTA 5 last year.
Let's take the camera
when I accidentally drove the car like into shit because of the perspective shifted to look at them from like the front of the car, so you couldn't see where you were driving. I drove right into shit when that scene happened, which is pretty funny.
Inside somebody or multiple bodies. When we take the camera inside of key characters, for some reason there's a weird texture usually in the torso area. And from what I can gather, it really doesn't have anything to do with the character whatsoever. Like for example, Michael's gardener has a blue texture in his body, but if you look anywhere else on him, he doesn't seem to have anything that resembles something blue. Also, if you take a look inside of the ski masks, you can see that the heads underneath the ski masks are fully modeled. This guy even has hair underneath the ski mask, but there's absolutely no depth to that hair whatsoever. It's just drawn onto a scalp like a tattoo.
Fascinating. You may actually be a rare combination of a sociopath and a deluded psychopath.
Throughout various points in the game, Michael can visit his doctor in this very exclusive office that you can't seem to get to as the normal player. In fact, you can't even get this office to load in the building that it's housed in unless you've just recently had an office visit. But thankfully, if you do have that office visit, the office stays in that zone and you can go inside of it with the free camera. So now with that added ability, let's check out some of the stuff that he's got here. And that hallway that's always used has no proper exit, so you can totally forget about the idea of the player being able to explore this area freely at one point.
Dead end. It's pretty neat. I don't want to watch the whole video, but I like these boundary break videos. This might be something that I would research, you know, or watch on my own accord and probably enjoy. I think it's pretty good. Cool. All right, let's continue. This next clip is supposed to be a famous clip from the FGC, but I don't know it. I'm going to watch it. This is the first time I'm ever going to watch this clip, okay?
Voice DHC glitch, that means you can do a combo into another combo with a super, but that combo is not landing any combo, but when he knocked down, it's still a combo. You understand?
Hell no. What the fuck did you
That's
say?
called DHC.
Have you ever
Voice DHC glitch.
Chris Hu explains the DHC glitch.
Voice DHC glitch, that means you can do a combo into another combo with a super, but that combo is not landing any combo, but when he knocked down, it's still a combo. You understand?
Hell no. What the?
So you can do a combo into a combo by using a super, but it doesn't register as a combo, but it's a combo. So I think what he's saying is that in this game, this is Marvel vs. Capcom 3, if you're not aware, you could be doing a combo, and then you could do a super move, and then I guess your partner comes in to continue the combo. But the game doesn't register it as the same combo. Since it doesn't register it as the same combo, it resets the damage, because the game has a damage limiter. It's hard to explain unless you understand the technicalities of a game like this. Okay. In the Marvel vs. Capcom series, because the characters are so crazy cartoony, some characters can hit you with 100-hit combos. Now, obviously, if you get hit 100 times, you're dead. But in the game, what they do, it's called a damage limiter. Once you get hit more and more, each hit does progressively less and less damage. So if you get hit 10 times, it does a lot of damage. But once you get hit like 20 times, hits 15 through 20 do almost no damage. It'll do like little pixels off of your energy bar. Okay? This avoids you dying from one combo. Imagine if a character had a 100-hit combo. Well, they're probably going to kill you. Well, since there's damage limiting, right? Or damage scaling is another thing they call it. You won't die to those kind of combos. I think what Chris Hu is saying is there's a situation when you're hitting someone with a combo, and normally the damage would scale all the way down and stop doing giant damage. But you can do a super move, and then while that super move's coming out, your teammate can come in. And your teammate can keep hitting you, and there's no way for you to avoid getting hit. Like, it continues as if it's a continuous combo, but the game doesn't count it as such. So maybe you hit someone 20 times. You do your super move. Your partner comes in, and you can't block or avoid it, and they keep hitting you, but the combo resets. So now instead of saying 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, it goes 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So by resetting the meter, it makes the damage go back to 0 as if the combo had never been hitting to begin with. So it is a continuous combo, but it resets the damage, making it insanely deadly, right? I think that's what he's saying, but I don't know because I didn't play Marvel 3 at a high competitive level to understand this. But I love the reaction that the guy says. Let's listen to it one more time. I love the reaction of the other commentator.
Voice DHC glitch, that means you can do a combo into another combo with a super, but that combo is not landing any combo, but when he knocked down, it's still a combo. You understand?
Hell no. What the fuck did you
That's
say?
called DHC.
Hell no. What the fuck did you just say? That's great. Like, I don't know what the fuck you said. That's great. Are there anything mealworms can't eat? Oh, wow. This might be
what
gross to
mealworms can
some.
and can't eat. First, let's consider fruits, a category that seems to be a favorite for these little creatures. A slice of watermelon, for instance, was enthusiastically consumed, rind and all. However, when they were given a whole watermelon, it seemed to be a bit too tough for them. They did manage to create holes in the rind and...
Look at the days. The amount of days, right? Wait, day 155. Oh, you guys can't see it. They made an error here. So, it says day 155, then day 7. That's not right. It's probably hour 155, day 7.
get to the fruit's flesh, but they did so slowly, and the fruit started to rot before they could finish, which led me to stop filming. The nectarine, boasting its smooth skin and sweet interior, was an easy opponent, with only the pit remaining. When they were presented with an
They didn't eat the pit. I guess they can't, huh? Too hard?
apple, it sank into the worm tray ever so swiftly over the course of 110 hours. Cherries were another item on their fruit menu. The juicy flesh was eaten while the hard pit was skillfully avoided. I wonder how long those would take for them, if they could eat them at all. Next up, the radish, and it disappears in no time, just like the lettuce heart, tangerine, and cheeseburger. All that's left behind is their frass, which makes for excellent fertilizer. They enjoyed corn on the cob very much, but the cob itself proved to be too hard for their liking. I'm confident that given enough time, it would have also disappeared in the worm tray.
Wow.
Something unexpected now. Mealworms can consume various types of cacti, and even plants that are still planted in soil, such as pea, catgrass, radish sprouts, or even chili.
They're not going to get poked by that spike. They're too small. They go around the spike and eat around it, so why wouldn't they eat that, right?
Chili plants, hot chilies included. Despite what you might think, they weren't deterred by the heat, and that's got proven when they finished a bunch of the Carolina Reapers, the world's hottest pepper.
They ate
it's a fascinating reminder that their taste receptors differ from ours.
I was going to say, maybe they can't taste spice. Maybe they literally just don't feel the burn, right?
But what if we gave them something more hearty from the realm of proteins? Raw chicken wings, which many of us might enjoy at a barbecue, were meticulously stripped down to the bone by these small insects. Watching them work is akin to observing a group of tiny, efficient scavengers, each taking a bite and systematically reducing the wings to skeletal remains.
Damn.
But chicken feet, both raw and boiled, presented a challenge. While they did manage to gnaw at them, reaching the bones at some parts, the hard skin and sturdy tendons seemed to be a bit too tough for them to fully consume. Nevertheless, their determination was apparent. When it came to a fish head, mealworms had no problem at all. All that was left was fish bones as they navigated the complex structure, nibbling at the flesh until it was clean, just like they did when I gave them a whole fish. As for red meat, a gold-covered Japanese Wagyu steak, known for its rich—
Why did he buy them Wagyu steak? He bought like the super expensive steak. Why did he do that?
marbling and intense flavor, posed an intriguing challenge. It seemed a bit too fatty for their liking, but they did sample it, showing their readiness to explore a range of food types.
It's too much
they enjoyed
fat?
boiled eggs quite a bit, eating the insides and leaving only the shell behind. I also gave them a Kinder Surprise egg to try. However, the chocolate didn't seem to be their favorite part. I wanted to test their—
Oh, they can't eat chocolate? Oh, that's interesting. That they can eat certain things, but not others. They can't eat chocolate.
Taste for seafood, so I gave them an octopus tentacle. With its unique texture and robust flavor, it was an interesting addition to their diet. Of course, they ate it all, even finishing the tiny bit that remained off camera. Their adaptability to diverse food sources is certainly impressive. Smoked salmon, with its rich, smoky flavor, was the next item on their menu, and they liked it a lot. As special treats, I also offered them caviar, shrimp, and sushi with wasabi stuck on a needle, and it's needless to say, none of them escaped their attention. While mealworms have proven to be quite the Epicureans, there were a few items that didn't quite hit the mark.
What the fuck is that? Strömming?
Surströmming, a Swedish delicacy infamous for its potent aroma, was perhaps a bit too much for our little friends. Although they tried to give it a nibble, they ultimately left it untouched, proving that even mealworms have culinary boundaries. Another food—
That's hilarious. They wouldn't eat the Swedish delicacy. It was too disgusting. They're like, nah, we're not eating that either. Fuck you. We're not touching that shit. That's great.
That didn't sit well with them was honey. Its sticky consistency was a hindrance, as it clung to their bodies and impeded their movement. I had to cut the experiment short to prevent harm to the mealworms, clearly illustrating that not all that is sweet is palatable to them. In a twist of the predator-prey dynamic, they were presented with a Venus flytrap.
Oh my god!
Expecting their usual enthusiasm for devouring plant material. To our surprise, the mealworms showed little interest in eating the carnivorous plant. A coconut shell
They didn't want to eat the plant, they ate the dirt. Oh wow.
Posed a challenge due to its hardness. However, they loved the softer insides. Processed foods were also on the menu. Bread, a slice of pizza, and even a donut. Nothing seemed to be off limits. Their adaptability to human food is remarkable. Even cigarettes made it to the tasting.
Cigarettes?
They managed to consume the tobacco, gnaw at some of the filter, and made holes on the paper. Though it's safe to say this is not a recommended part of their diet. And lastly, we must mention their unique ability to eat and digest various plastics, such as styrofoam, polyethylene, and polypropylene, hinting at potential applications in waste management.
Wow.
If you found any of these quick mealworm time lapses interesting, you can find their longer versions on my channel.
Yeah, mealworms. Some people get freaked out at stuff like that. I don't. That's fascinating to me. To see what they can eat and stuff. There's nothing wrong with that, right? Some people get freaked out and grossed out by them, but why? I don't know why. Why would you be grossed out by that? It's just something natural, right? I guess some people just get freaked out by bugs in general, right? Like bugs just freak people out. All right, we'll watch one more video before we split the part here.
This couple is chasing a world record that is unattainable. They want to become the first family to have at least 100 children. They're currently on kid number 19. I really didn't want to shit on this couple because at first they didn't seem like bad people. I still don't think the wife is bad, but the husband, Galip Öztürk, is a piece of garbage who happens to be worth tens of millions. He was sentenced to life in prison in Turkey for murder, and he fled to Georgia on the day of his sentencing. And it seems he
really?
Didn't stay out of trouble there either because he's currently serving an 8-year prison sentence in Georgia for smuggling. The wife is raising all the babies herself and is planning on adopting a new baby every few months through surrogate mothers. I honestly think this woman has some kind of trauma and raising kids is her way to cope. There is no way you can raise each kid with the proper care and love that they deserve. I hope they don't have any more kids and raise the ones they do have properly. I genuinely wish her all the best. But I can't say the same thing about this derelict whose forehead walks into a room 2 hours before the rest of them does.
The only comment I'll say about this is I don't know what this obsession is with people who just want to have so many kids. Like, I don't know. Like, I listen, you have a right to procreate, and if you want to have kids, right? Sadly, there's a lot of people who they have kids and they don't take on the proper responsibility to make sure that those kids now have a good life. They don't raise them well, they don't protect them. You know what I'm saying? The last thing this planet needs is more deadbeat parents. If you're someone who is actively going to take care of your kids, right? Right? Then that's fine. But at the same time, is there a limit? I see, I'm not a scientist. I don't have all the data, right? You would think that our planet has limited resources at some point here, right? And that you have to realize that if you procreate more than you are, then we're going to run out of space and resources, correct? Like, for example, if every couple had 12 children, you just created 10 more people for the planet than what you originally started with, right? So you're going to eventually multiply more than the Earth can even have capacity for, right? I think the ideal is what they try to say is two people have 2 kids, so now that's equal, correct? Right? Again, I don't know. I don't know what the stats are or anything. I think it's weird because I think what they were saying is in some countries, the stats are like sky high, unlimited procreation, and the population is just booming too much. In other countries, it's the opposite trend, where people are just not procreating enough to actually keep the population at the level it's at, and the population levels are going down. So it's a weird thing to kind of, you know, look into and research, because I think culturally, different cultures see it differently. But then you get the reality shows of like 18 kids and counting and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. It's a weird thing. I don't know much about it. The way I see it, like my take would be, you replace, you keep it like, for example, if you're a married couple, right, and you have 2 kids, that's fine. I don't think I would have any problem. It makes sense, right? But having like 5, 10 kids is like, what are you doing? Like, do you not realize that this world is not unlimited? We don't have unlimited resources, unlimited space. Like, why did you think that it was okay to have that many kids? And it's going to be fine. Now, here's the thing is that there's nothing to stop you, right? Especially in the United States, there's absolutely zero restrictions or limits on procreation. You can do whatever the hell you want. And, hey, you can pump out a bunch of kids, and the government will give you money to do it. They'll actually give you assistance to raise your kids and your family, too, if you qualify for it. So, you know, I don't know. It's pretty crazy. In some places in the world, it's the opposite. Some places, it's different. It's different no matter where you go, I think. So, and it's a cultural thing, too. Like, some cultures, they 100% promote have 1 million kids, and other cultures are, like, have very limited kids and stuff like that. So, I don't know. Again, I wish I had data on it. I can't really intelligently speak to it. But in this situation, I mean, a guy who's a criminal, he already is supposed to be life in prison, runs away, goes to another country, and now he's popping out 1 million kids. I'm sure that's a good idea, right? Anyway. All right. That is it for part 2 of DSP versus the internet. Part 3 coming up. I think we have one more ultra submission, and then we go to the standard, and we'll see where it goes from there. All right, guys? Thanks. I'll see you in the next part.